Hey Josh, how's it going? I want to say
Good.
good. You can hear me all right, so we're good, right?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm just thinking I gotta up my game for the background here. I got a sheet and two t-shirts, and you got like
Hey,
glowing lights and skulls and all this cool stuff.
oh hey, I happen to have that shirt and I love it. That's one of my favorite shirt of merch wise of yours.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, so I hope you don't mind. My name's Ashley-Rose. I'm with TWM, the Wrestle Movement in the UK. Um, we're gonna ask you a few questions. First of all, how are you doing? How are you feeling?
I'm good. I'm feeling good. I just moved, so I have been under a tremendous amount of stress this last week, but I am finally complete and settled and happy and ready for Hard to Kill this weekend.
Awesome. That's great to hear. I'm very, happy to be speaking with you. I think you're spectacular talent, from you were in one of the best tag teams, you know, the North, one of the best X Division champions. So what are your thoughts on your opponent, Jonah? Let's start with that.
Uh, well, where do I start? I followed his career since he came over from Australia and started getting, making waves in PWG. And then he, of course, got signed and he competed in NXT. So I followed a little bit of that. And then, he shows up in Impact Wrestling, lays me out, makes me cough up blood. And it's only building and building into this match at Hard to Kill. And I'm really excited for the match, not only because we have this clash of styles and I think we're going to really complement each other. But when I grew up, I was a huge fan of Bret Hart, and I saw Bret have these matches with guys like Bam Bam Bigelow, and there's not too many super heavyweights out there that I could say could move like a Bam Bam Bigelow, but I think Jonah's one of those guys. So it's going to be cool to be able to get in the ring with somebody that size that can move the way they do, and see what I can do.
Yeah, I did see him in NXT, spectacular talent, great. He seems to work very well, chemistry wise with a lot of people. So I think, it's going to be a spectacular match. Hard to Kill. It is, I would say, probably one of the best Impact events. And, I'm glad to hear that it's in Dallas this year. How are you feeling, going into Hard to Kill in Dallas this year?
Oh, I'm psyched. The last time we were in Dallas, I think it was Hard to Kill the last time, maybe 2 years ago now, almost to the day. And we've done two pay-per-views there since I've been in the company for almost 3 years. And Dallas is always a great town for Impact to come to. It always sells out. It always feels like one of the bigger pay-per-views, the way it's set up in that venue and stuff like that. And just looking at this specific card for Hard to Kill, I think it's one of the most stacked wrestling cards, like period.
Yeah.
Stop there. Not just saying Impact Wrestling and stuff. I think you have something for everybody, and you have a first time like Ultimate X Knockouts match in there, and you got all this other stuff thrown in there. And I think it's just stacked across the board. So I think it's a good time for anybody that might be on the fence about being an Impact Wrestling fan or getting into it to check it out, because I think it's the perfect kind of show to really showcase what we can do.
Yeah, I think this year, I agree. The card is completely stacked. How do you feel about the first women's Ultimate X match?
That's going to be the one that I'm at the monitor for the entire time, regardless of like what's going on or how busy I might be. I'm going to make time to sit and watch that one live, because I'm a fan of pretty much like everybody that's competing in that one. I know how hungry everybody is in that match, and I know that like the Ultimate X match is like the one gimmick match out there that still has some allure, because not everything's been done. I said this when I went into my own one at Slammiversary last year, like a lot, but like the fact that the knockouts get to compete in the first ever one, every woman in that match has a chip on their shoulder right now to show that not only can they like have an Ultimate X match, like, but they can steal the damn show when they do it. And I know that's how the mentality that all of them have. That's why I'm gonna be at the monitor checking it out with everybody else.
Yeah, I think, that's definitely going to be one of the matches everyone looks forward to. Everyone seems to be very excited about it. I'm excited about it. So who do you have winning?
Ooh,
Or who
well,
would
you
you like?
see, I mean, I have friends in this
I
match. We're
know.
starting an internal war over this. I'm gonna have group chats going crazy. No, I would say I think Tasha is probably the one that is kind of under the radar, but I think is really deserving and really hitting her stride So I would like to see her come out on top, but it could really go any way. You have someone like Lady Frost that really just, came into the company, and everybody knows that she has this insane high flying gymnastics background. I think that's going to do her a lot of good in that match. I know from experience how high that X really is. When you watch it as a fan, it doesn't look that high, but once you get in there and you're hanging from those ropes, it's certainly terrifying. And I'm not somebody that's afraid of heights. So, I think a lot of them are going to be surprised when they get up there and start swinging from those cables about how intense that might be and how high it is. So, yeah, I would say Tasha would be my pick as a fan.
Well, that's, great to hear. All those women, are spectacular. Lady Frost, I saw her a lot, in the independents, just from streams. She's amazing. I'm very happy that she's there. Um, I think it's going to be a great opportunity, not only for just wrestling or just Impact, but for women's wrestling in general. So I think they're going to showcase, everything that they are capable of. And at least, I definitely believe they're capable of so much. I've seen each one of those women do amazing things in the ring.
Yeah. And before Slammiversary, we were doing our own Ultimate X match. Before the show started, we had the structure up, and every single woman in that match, except for Lady Frost, I don't think she was with the company at the time, got up there and swung around on the ropes and cables just to prove they could do it. And they were demanding their own Knockouts Ultimate X, and that's why this happened here today. Going into Hard to Kill. So I'm just excited because I'm pretty sure it's going to steal the show, and if they do, I will be the first one, with a smile from ear to ear.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great. But let's go back to the Impact World Championship. That you have your sights on. Do you care who wins that main event, or do you specifically want it to be Moose so that way, let's say things could be on equal ground, an eye for an eye, maybe after everything that happened.
Yeah, I mean, one way or another, I'm gonna get my hands on Moose eventually. That has to happen. There's no way it can't. And I would say that when it does happen, it would be that much sweeter to, beat him and take away that thing that he covets most in that Impact World Championship, much like he took it away from me. But it's hard to take anything away from someone like Matt Cardona. Not to overlook Morrissey, but I think Cardona is certainly the underdog heading into the match. I think he's the guy that everybody's getting behind, and he's the guy that, much like a lot of other people in the company, has a chip on his shoulder to show that he is a main event star, that shows he can be a world champion. Because people might have this idea of him from what he's been branded as from a different company, and since he's shown up in Impact Wrestling, I think he's a main event star. I think he can do everything. I think he's certainly capable of being a world champion. So I can't take that away from him. But I would certainly hope, deep down somewhere, that Moose retains that championship, so I'm the one that takes it away from him.
And I think you can, with so many different competitors coming into Impact, within, let's say last year, and who knows with 2022, it's a new year, anything is possible. Who do you want to face that you have not had a chance to face, at least in Impact? Not necessarily just the indies or the independents, because I know that you do some work at AAW, amazing stuff over there. It's a great promotion. I encourage everyone to check it out as well. But who would you like to see walk through those doors?
Oh, like the forbidden door, you're saying? Somebody coming through from another company?
I wouldn't say necessarily the forbidden door. I always thought of Impact as a fantastic promotion that provides opportunities to people.
Oh, okay. Well, like if it was an Impact person that's already signed, I really, really want to get in the ring with Eric Young. I've never been in the ring with him. I can draw similarities between both of our careers, stemming from growing up an hour apart from each other in Canada and all this other stuff. And it's just somebody that I've always I've wanted to compete against because I respect him so much. So hopefully that gets to happen. John Grisham defending his ROH World Championship at Hard to Kill, actually, against Chris Sabin. He's somebody that I would love to get in the ring with at a major company with all the lights on and
Mhm.
for the world to see, because we've done it on the independents so many times, and it's always been special, and it's always, been something that I think people need to see, more people at least. But I'm very hopeful that Impact does more work with the New Japan roster, because I think the New Japan roster is kind of untapped for the North American market. I think it's one of the strongest rosters in all of pro wrestling. And, we brought in El Fantasmo, we brought in a couple people here and there, Finn Juice, but I'm talking about the Ishiis or the Shingos, or those New Japan stars that are from Japan. I think we can make something especially, special with someone like that. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's a great opportunity, for even, like NWA, maybe some OVW in there. We've got, there's so much talent out there in the world that deserves to be seen. So, I think that's, Impact is one of the best rings, to display that talent. Do you have any other championships in your sights besides the Impact World title?
I mean, that's the sole focus right now. The entire lead up to Bound for Glory, I was saying this is my opportunity to show that I can be like a main eventer, show I can be a world champion, show I can be the face of the company and all that other stuff. And, in a moment, I thought I'd achieved all that, and then it was taken away from me. And now, I'm kind of back on the back burner. So for me to get to the forefront, I think I have to take that world championship back. I need to do it, on a big stage against Moose eventually. So hopefully that gets to happen. But I can't overlook Jonah, at Hard to Kill this weekend. So
Yeah, I think everyone is definitely looking forward to that. And, it may be, match of the year material for 2022. And we're in the beginning of the year, um, as far as, what or who inspires you as an individual?
oof. I mean, it's constantly evolving, constantly changing. But like I've always, from a wrestling perspective, like my heroes have never really changed. It's always been, Eddie Guerrero and Bret Hart and Kurt Angle and all these people that just like captured my imagination. I think like just the way that like they're revered, because I've never really met or spoken to any of them at any length, but the way they were revered by their peers that I get to talk to, the D'Lo Browns and all these other people, that they were always professional, and they always valued what they did in the ring, because they always wanted to give the fans their money's worth. And that's something that I've really tried, to push and embody, whether it be on the independence in front of 500, 5,000 people, or at Impact Wrestling in front of the entire world on paper. So, that's what inspires me day to day. I just want to be the best wrestler I can be, because at the end of the day, everything I do in wrestling now, I want to be remembered. I want my kids, who are insane fans of me and completely obsessed with the wrestling business, to grow up and be able to look at what I did, be proud, not just for myself.
Absolutely. Um, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? That's actually a question from one of the Impact faithful. I
Mhm.
did ask them if they had any questions that they, wanted, and that was one of the main questions.
I mean, I can't say for sure. If I were to write my story, I would say that if you talked about Impact Wrestling and the stars it's produced, you would talk about AJ Styles and you would talk about Josh Alexander. I would hope that in 5 years that's what you can say, and hopefully that is able to materialize. But some things are out of my hands.
Yeah, life does happen, especially with everything that's gone on in the world, the way things are, with everything going on in the world, the pandemic is, it seems to be under control, and then it seems to not be under control, depending on what side, you follow, as far as the media or how you personally, handle things. I do know that there's a lot of people struggling in the world, especially with those changes and difficulties, and, things in life have changed a little bit, or have changed a lot for some people. What would you like to say to your fans and the Impact faithful, that are currently struggling, either with the situation going on in the world, or their, when it comes to mental health?
I mean, the only thing I can say is that if you're a fan of Impact Wrestling, a fan of me, and you're struggling, you need to understand first and foremost that like I myself struggle, that we all do. Like everybody in that locker room, I don't care who you are, I'm friends with every single person. We all have a struggle, whether it be with, the new restrictions or myself with body dysmorphia or anything else. Like everybody has something they have to deal with at a different point in time, and regardless of the severity of it or something, it's tough. But you need to find the thing that motivates you and the thing that's going to pull you out of that, or else you're just going to be stuck in that hole and keep digging it deeper and deeper. And I've been there too. But the most important thing, Impact had this thing that they were involved with, where they said just tag out or tag in, or I can't remember what the slogan was, but it really rings true that at the most, when you're struggling with something, any mental health, like I've been there, you feel completely alone. And then when you get out of it, if however you get out of it, sometimes even if it's a small thing, you talk to somebody about it finally and you realize that they could have been somebody that helped you out of that much sooner. There's always somebody to turn to. It's just there's no shame in admitting that you need somebody to listen or help or do anything. And if I can help in any way by what I do, and make you happy for a couple hours on a Thursday night when you watch Impact Wrestling, then that's awesome for me. But just understand that there's always somebody out there, and there's always somebody that can help. And don't be ashamed to voice that you're struggling with anything, because as I said, I myself struggle on a daily basis with certain things, and sometimes it's harder than other days. But
Yeah, and I think it's very important. I've always said that Impact Faithful, the Impact community, they're very supportive. At least they try to be the best that they can. As far as when it comes to any community. And, I just wanted to ask and see, because sometimes, they just need that little bit extra encouragement, that's anyone. People naturally, I think, when it comes to instinct, they want to be seen. They want to be heard. There is a difference between, I guess, being looked at or being seen. And, people want to be recognized. And I think it's an important thing, especially now, just to say, hey, I'm here for you, I'm listening at least. So that, I said, some things are very difficult in the world right now. Now that we're off that serious note, any fundamentals you want to pass on to future wrestlers, whether it comes to tag team, singles, you're very successful in both,
Oh, well, the tag team wrestling thing I can sum up with just the most important thing about a tag match is what makes a tag match different than a singles match. It's the rules. So many times it's a big thing, right? Probably on social media now, because I see FTR hammering it out and them getting like kind of, it's combative almost, because they criticize other tag teams for it. And like nobody's perfect, but I've always found that if you respect the rules and you respect the referee, it just makes the tag team match that much better, because that's an asset to you to make your match different than everything else they've seen on the card with all those other singles matches. But my prime advice to everybody, I get asked this question nearly every weekend, from young up and coming wrestlers, is just, what do I do? How do I become successful and all this other stuff? And I tell them, I'm just like, you need to understand that there's maybe 500 jobs in the world for you to be a professional wrestler and make a living. And there's probably 10,000 wrestlers. So you need to look around the locker room and understand that you're competing with everybody at all times. And that doesn't mean that you need to push anybody down, but that just means you have to look at what they're doing and say, I got to work harder. You have to understand that, like, it's what you get what you put into it. And I wasted nearly a decade of my career pretending like I was putting everything I could into this. And it wasn't until I broke my neck that I realized that I had regret about not working hard enough. And I was lucky enough to have that lesson, so that I came back from neck injury and I was able to, right all the wrongs that I had done before. And that's why I found success now, I think. So
that's great, and I look forward to seeing you in Hard to Kill, especially, upcoming future of 2022. And I hope to see you as Impact World Champion again. I think you're going to make a fantastic champion. Great representation for the company. And That's all the questions I have for you today. And, I just want to say it was a privilege and an honor to speak to you today.
Yeah, it was nice talking. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. You have a good day.
You too.